So what I'd like to do is take the first speaker, whose name is Savon Banks. Subject of remarks, removal of Afrocentric principle, action requested, keep the principle. Mr. Banks, please approach the podium. Good evening.
Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Dr. Good. Good evening. I'm a student at the school for Livingston and Grant. I'm currently a junior, and I just wanted to share my thoughts with you about the principal of my building. She makes me feel safe. I know that when she is in the building, there'll be no foolishness. I'm able to concentrate on my studies because she demands excellence from everyone. Under her guidance, our PSEO enrollment has gone from 5 to 50, and they are thriving. When our ladies basketball team won the 2014 state championship, it was her that organized the parade. She is tough on us, but we know it's because she cares. For the first time ever, we have a marching band. And last Saturday, she encouraged me to bring out my inner clown. On National Children's Day, it's amazing what one can do with just a little encouragement. We had a wonderful turnout. She knows how to bring the best in us. And that is why I want her to be my principal. My senior year, I don't want another principal. I want the principal that I have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Are there any clarifying questions from board members? All right, our next speaker is Ed Lentz. Mr. Lentz is speaking on the Clinton School Annex, and his request is that we do not demolish the building. Good evening, Mr. Lentz.
Good evening. Bear with me. It's been about 30 years since I spoke with you folks when I was director at Landmarks before. I'm Ed Lentz. I'm the executive director of the Columbus Landmarks Foundation. Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Good. Columbus City Schools has made positive strides in the rehabilitation of school buildings for school use. The Ohio Avenue School and the Stewart Avenue School come to mind. Columbus City Schools has also creatively adapted historic buildings for school use, for example, the Fort Hayes Alternative High School. And Columbus City Schools has even promoted adaptive reuse of school buildings for other purposes. The adaptation of the 1863 3rd Street School is a good example of that. The Clinton Avenue School, or Clinton Annex, should be another example. Built in 1895, it once served as the only high school for what was then Clinton Township residents living north of Hudson Street. Next year, the building will be 120 years old and is a historic landmark in the Clintonville area. More importantly, it's adaptable for a variety of uses. Local residents have presented a plan for one such use as a possible daycare center and community center. More relevantly, it is also eminently adaptable for continued use as a school building. Originally scheduled for demolition, even as we speak, destruction of the school has been postponed while talks continue as to its future. We applaud the efforts of local residents and concerned citizens to save the building. We urge the board to make every effort to do just that. Columbus Landmarks opposes the demolition of this historic structure, stands ready to assist in any way we can to help the Columbus City Schools and the Clintonville community find a solution agreeable and acceptable to all. Thank you.
Are there any clarifying questions from board members?
Very well.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Carol Moyer, and Ms. Moyer and several other speakers are here to talk about the retirement of Bernice Smith, as I understand. And so I'd like to ask Ms. Smith to come forward, if she doesn't mind, as she is recognized. Dr. Smith.
Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. I'm Carol Moyer, and I'm standing here to acknowledge the service of Dr. Bernice D. Smith, who is a product of Charleston, South Carolina, and Augusta, Georgia, and a graduate of some very prestigious universities, such as Payne College, Augusta, Georgia, Erickson Institute at Loyola University, Chicago, and The Ohio State University. In addition to her work in the early childhood department of the Columbus Schools, for which she is probably best known to all of us, Dr. Smith has been a university librarian, Head Start teacher, an elementary school teacher, and principal. Her principal positions have included 2 Columbus schools, Duxbury Park and Fair Avenue Arts Impact Schools. In addition, she was an assistant professor at The Ohio State University and district and regional personnel training manager for a preschool learning center. We are extremely proud of her work as supervisor of the Department of Early Childhood Education for the Columbus Schools. Under her supervision, the pre-kindergarten program grew from 5 classes to 43 programs. Dr. Smith, I'm taking my time. Dr. Smith is a woman of excellence, as is evident from the impact that the early childhood programs have had on the families of this community. The full-day pre-kindergarten programs are of such high quality that parents clamor to enroll their children, and some even line up as early as 4:00 a.m. to register on the first day of registration. The full-day kindergarten program was also established under Dr. Smith's supervision. With professional development for teachers and a wealth of materials, full-day kindergarten became a reality for the families of the Columbus community. Dr. Smith is the recipient of too many awards and recognitions for me to mention at this time, but I'll mention a few. New Administrator Award for Outstanding Leadership, 1995 Best Award in Early Childhood Education, the Irene Bandy Hedden Early Childhood Education Leadership Award, the Capital University Teacher Education Visionary Leadership Award, and the Career Achievement Award from The Ohio State University. The Department of Early Childhood Education was awarded several grants under Dr. Smith's leadership, and one that had the greatest impact was written and submitted by the Child Development Council, Head Start, and Columbus Schools. It was for $4 million over the life of the grant, and was one of 13 in the nation and the only one in Ohio. Dr. Smith was also appointed to the Supreme Court's Commission on Continuing Legal Education and served as a district key member at large of the West Ohio Conference of the United Methodist Church as a certified lay speaker. She began her career in Columbus City Schools as a pre-kindergarten teacher and considers it a privilege to have worked in this district for over 30 years as a teacher, principal, and district administrator. As stated by one awards committee, she has dedicated many years to supporting, they took some of my time. Okay, all right. The youngest learners and helping them thrive academically, physically, socially, and emotionally. Her tireless resolve has advanced excellence, particularly through the Columbus City Schools Early Childhood Department and community collaborations. She motivates a cadre of advocates to meet challenges while promoting the growth of the whole child and alleviating problems families encounter. We also thank for their support her husband, Dr. Urban Smith, retired professor of Christian ethics at Methesco Theological Seminary and former pastor of Shepherd St. Paul United Methodist Church, and her son, Brian. It's been my privilege to work with Dr. Smith for 10 years, and it is with great pleasure that we acknowledge her and commend her on her exceptional service to the district and community. She is leaving quite a legacy.
Dr. Smith, I believe there are other accolades prior to your opportunity to address the board. I'd like to ask Pamela Rice to come up next and speak.
Always in charge. Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. I have to follow up Carol Moyer. I've got big shoes to fill. My name is Pam Rice, and I'm an early childhood coordinator with the Early Childhood Education Department here at Columbus City Schools. I was also chosen as one of the first pre-K teachers hired for the pre-kindergarten pilot program in 1991. I have had the honor and privilege of working in early childhood since then, as well as knowing Dr. Bernice Smith. She is the epitome of true early childhood professional, and she is a true leader. She has worked tirelessly, as Carol stated, for many years, many families, many teachers, and too many young children of lives she has touched to mention this evening. Her knowledge and experience in the field of early childhood is simply amazing. Also tonight, many of our exceptional pre-K teachers and staff are here to honor her and highlight, in my opinion, one of the best programs that Columbus City Schools has to offer families. Teachers, give a shout out. For those guests here this evening, we are located in more than 36 elementary schools with 43 classrooms and serve well over 700 families. We also have 2 collaborations with the Schoenbaum Family Center at Ohio State University and the Early Childhood Center on Johnstown Road. As a matter of fact, we have a wonderful parent who will be speaking tonight representing pre-K and that program. Our dedicated, highly qualified, degreed teachers and exceptional parents and staff and our very well-prepared for kindergarten, pre-kindergarten students make our program an outstanding success. However, this would not be possible without the leadership and determination of Dr. Bernice Smith. She is the foundation for early childhood in Columbus. She is leaving us soon, and she is leaving a legacy, as Carol stated, for quality programming in early childhood education, as well as the Columbus community. We will truly miss her. Tonight, we are wearing a purple and gold ribbon, some of Dr. Smith's favorite colors, pinned in the shape of a heart. To me, this has deeper meaning. The purple ribbon represents Dr. Smith's passion and love of early childhood education, and her love of guiding and helping families in learning and building that foundation for the rest of their lives. The gold in the ribbon represents the gold standard or high quality program that she has created and our department staff and teachers offer the families and children of Columbus. We help prepare those children for kindergarten. Ask any Columbus kindergarten teacher and they will tell you with a resounding yes that when they have a pre-K student from our program and they arrive in their kindergarten classroom, that child is always prepared. It is a gold standard program that meets national and state standards in all areas of learning and development. The ribbons join to form a heart for Dr. Smith because we know that her heart is and always will be with the early childhood department, the families, staff, and students of the amazing pre-kindergarten program. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Aisha Jackson.
Good evening. I am one of those parents that were at 5 o'clock in the morning, hat on, jacket on, ready to wait in line. Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. Good evening. My name is Aisha Jackson. I am a proud graduate of Eastmoor Academy and a proud parent of 3 Columbus City School children. 2 of them attend Berwick Alternative, and my son Nehemiah attends Columbus City School pre-kindergarten class located at Johnstown with a great partnership with MRDD ECELC family. Approaching this school year, we already knew he was academically and physically ahead of the game. But there was this emotional and social piece that continued to rear its ugly head at my husband and I, which made our decision easy when deciding not to allow him to enter kindergarten early. We decided to take the great opportunity and enroll him in Columbus City Schools pre-kindergarten program in hopes that not only will he continue to highly exceed in his learning and academics, but also in his social and emotional skills. I made the parenting mistake when telling a friend that he would be going to preschool And he quickly and bluntly, Nehemiah corrected me by saying, I am going to pre-kindergarten. Indeed. Indeed, the program has helped my son further his education and has given him tools to implement a more positive way to getting him to verbally express his emotions in a healthy, productive way. Some of the things he would say he enjoyed the most was the art that was offered and, of course, the gym. It's funny how gym is at the top of what we enjoyed best in school, but as adults, we have a hard time going. It's the educational field trips that they went on to the Ohio Historical Center and the opportunity to go see the famous Nutcracker. And one of my favorites is when they went to see Charlotte's Web at Columbus Alternative High School. The opportunity for him to walk into his father's school where he graduated gave him such pride. The amount of knowledge he would retain and come back with to share was very impressive. And I must say, even a 5-year-old can teach you things she didn't know. I even give credit to the behavioral color code system that they have in place. We would soon learn that green is a great color to be on, and that you should strive to be on green as much as you can. I could always tell when he felt short of that accomplishment, even before I could even say hi, Nehemiah. Dr. Smith has led a remarkable program. I wish her the best of luck with all of her future endeavors and hope she can now take a break and get some tons of rest and relaxation. Dr. Smith's great team of teachers has definitely molded my son this year. Ms. Williams, Ms. Floyd, Mr. Craig, Ms. Marcy, Ms. Veronica are by far the best teaching team any parent could wish for. Their love of Nehemiah and all the children they come in contact with will help him move into kindergarten with a high quality of education and a great foundation for them to succeed beyond his full potential. Not only is my son walking away a better student, but through Page, the meeting program, and their meetings that were offered and encouraged to attend, I am able to walk away with a better understanding of how a child learns and how we as parents from birth play a crucial role in their learning. It's all about challenging them and becoming more active and hands-on. The Page meetings not only offered great educational material, but also connected us with outside resources, like the Columbus Metropolitan Library, a class on healthy eating with children, and my favorite was Becoming a Scientist through COSI. Wheels on Wheels education program. It was like Christmas at some of the meetings when we would walk away with book bags full of educational material for my son to help in his studies at home during learning times. I appreciate this opportunity for you giving me this time to share just a portion of how much early childhood pre-kindergarten and the Page program has been such a benefit to my husband and I. Thank you.
And our next speaker is Rhonda Childers.
All right. Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Seward, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. My name is Rhonda Childs, and I work in the Department of Early Childhood. I would like to thank the board for this opportunity to address the members and community today. We're here today to acknowledge the exemplary work of the Department of Early Childhood and the dedication this department has to the youngest learners in the Columbus City School District. As a former pre-K teacher, I know firsthand the joy and rewards of working with such an exciting, robust group of learners. I am here today, along with my fellow pre-K colleagues, to publicly say thank you to Columbus City Schools and their commitment to early childhood, but ultimately to say thank you to our fearless leader, Dr. Bernice Smith, who has carried out the vision and made early childhood in our district what it is today. She has set the standard of high quality and often goes above and beyond to make sure that her staff has what they need so that all pre-K students and their families have what they need to be successful. This is a comment sent in by Shelley Latham, an instructional assistant at Starling Pre-K. She says, I remember over 20 years ago, there were only 5 pre-K classrooms meeting 4 days a week and classes were only half day. On Monday, we did our own grocery shopping for snacks. We are now over 40 pre-K classes strong, and they are all full-day classes. I am very proud to say I work for early childhood education in pre-kindergarten. I am also very proud to work in the Department of Early Childhood, and I have compiled a list of things I want to say thank you to Dr. Smith for. So this is to you, Dr. Smith. Thank you from a pre-K teacher perspective. Thank you for all the classroom supplies and materials. You have always made sure we have the developmental materials our students need to learn and grow. Thank you for making sure we have a curriculum that focuses on all academic areas, including reading, math, science, and social studies. Thank you for having the professional development days on the new content standards so we could come together as a staff and share our best practices. Thank you for sending over your support staff whenever we needed help. We focus on the whole child in pre-K, not just academically, but socially and physically as well. You have the best coordinators, social workers, and nurses. Thank you for choosing professional development that is geared towards our work in early childhood and staying abreast of the latest educational trends in early childhood. Thank you for providing snacks at every professional development meeting. that you paid for out of your own pocket. Thank you for always returning our calls or emails. Many of us have gotten emails long after working hours because you were still working. Thank you for having those conversations with others who may not understand the work we do with young children. We are not daycare. We work hard to prepare these students for academic success. Thank you for the annual class field trips to the circus, and thank you for even being a mom sometimes and telling us when to clean our room. We sincerely thank you for everything you've done throughout the years. I couldn't remember it all, but I hope you know we appreciate just how hard you've worked and how much you truly cared about us in this program. This is my final comment that I'll read from Megan Zorns, the pre-K teacher at Fifth Avenue. Dr. Bernice Smith has worked for Columbus City Schools for many years. Her hard work and sacrifice has built one of the best programs in the district and produced the results year after year. She is a true advocate for young children and has always supported her teachers and staff. She has worked many hours after school to make sure that her program is the best of the best. Columbus City Schools will truly be indebted to her, and we will miss her greatly. Thank you for all you have done for us. Dr. Smith, you are an amazing woman.
Thank you. Thank you. President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Mr. Cole, Ms. Gibbs, Ms. Hudson, Mr. Paretti, Ms. Reyes, Superintendent Good. I am so proud to be here tonight. We talked about coming here earlier than tonight to just say thank you to the board, to this Board of Education, and to all the previous board that had the foresight to say early childhood education is important. And to that board, that voted for the establishment of the Department of Early Childhood Education. I began my career in this district as a pre-K teacher, so I feel like I've come full circle. And I was a great pre-K teacher. Most of the time, I'm modest. Tonight, I'm not going to be. And when I was a pre-K teacher, all I thought I wanted to be was a teacher. I never knew that I could even be an administrator until I was working for a community school, Columbus Laboratory School, and I was a teacher there. The principal got sick, and Reverend Troy said, "You're going to be the principal because you have the credentials." I said, "No, I'm not." And I became the principal. And then after that, I worked for Columbus Public Schools from 71 to 76, and I left. I was away 10 years, because I thought I wanted something different. So I tried something different. And then later on, I realized that something different wasn't really what I wanted. And so I decided to come back to Columbus Public School in '86. And I came back as a leadership trainee and became a principal. And then while I was a principal, this job became available. And I said I was going to apply for it because everything I had ever done related to this job. So I interviewed, and while I interviewed, I knew I had the job. I knew I had the job. But I did not want to leave my school, Fair Avenue, because I had a good school and a good staff. So I took a long time to decide. You all don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I took a long time to decide on taking the position. And I got a call from Dr. Nixon, Dr. Asbury, and Dr. Tim Ilk. And they encouraged me to take the job. So I said to myself, you know, if I ever want to move up, I better take that job. So I took the job, and I have never regretted it. The job afforded me the opportunity to live out my passion for working in early childhood education. And I must thank my staff that is second to none, my department staff. I have a great staff. I have great teachers. I have great instructional assistants. With people you win. I could not do what I do if I did not have good people. Thank you so much, Columbus Public Schools, for supporting early childhood education and making my job one of the best one could ever have. Thank you very much.
Any comments from board members?
I want to say it afterwards. You say it afterwards.
Now?
We can at the end.
Okay, very well then. Let's move on to our next speaker, Thomas Mustrick. Subject of his remarks, review and thank you. Action requested, vote to amend the list in the student guide handbook. Good evening.
Good evening. I want to thank everybody. My name is Thomas Mustrick, and I say good evening to President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. I'm very pleased that at the last agenda meeting that when I spoke that I had met with Dr. Good and that he had agreed to meet with our city safety director, Mitchell Brown. And so in that light, I did write to both offices a letter that they communicate with each other and made the suggestion that they also link in to meet and invite to Richard Piper, our city attorney, who agreed to look over the laws and the penalties and the statutes that are going to be affected by amending the Student Guide for Positive Behavior. So I'm looking forward, and I'm thanking the board in advance for your vote in August to support Dr. Good and whatever the decision is going to be to move things forward. And the reason that we want to make sure this positive guide for positive behavior, student guide for positive behavior, is to move forward is that we have to look out for what is in the best interest of the children. It does make, what happened to me is, historical, it's oral, so to speak, and the idea is that we can't have these kinds of ray guns in the student classrooms being used on our students to bully anybody, our staff, our teachers, and our administrators. I just want to thank all of you. I did vote today, and I hope that you vote in support of the move to amend the Student Guide for Positive Behavior in August to add the weapon as our Mitchell Brown, our safety director, thinks that it should be. Thank you very much and have a very good day. And congratulations, and thank you to all and to the many people that have spoken here tonight representing, as a teacher, since I have a couple more seconds, I want to personally thank the elementary school program that they had for reading, because that was one of the things that impressed me in my substitute teaching was the remarkable advance that these children had in reading skills that in the schools where I did elementary. And I did so many elementary classes because I enjoyed it that they gave me a certification in that to do that. So I appreciated that too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mustard. Any clarifying questions from board members for Mr. Mustard? Very well then. Our next speaker is Bianca Nolan. Subject of her remarks, harassment. Action requested, resolve the problem. Ms. Nolan? Good evening.
Kind of nervous. Have things written down, but had to change it because I can't address certain things. But good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. A little nervous, sorry. I'm here. My name is Bianca Nolan. I'm the parent of Beyonce Brown, a teacher, a student at one of the Columbus Public Middle Schools. I'm here, first of all, to start off, my daughter's was told by the school workers that they weren't allowed to have breakfast. This sparked me to kind of attend the school, find out what was going on. When I attended the school, I'm sorry, I'm all nervous. I had everything all sorted out. But when I attended the school, I was greeted by the actual administrator, not the principal. We talked for a while about the situation. She then said she would get with the principal and discuss it. After that, I was only there to discuss the situation about my daughters not being able to eat breakfast. After that, after I wasn't addressed by the principal, I decided to spend the day at the school. I'm there the whole day at the school. Not once did the principal address me, come up to me, say, hello, what's your situation, what's going on? About 2 o'clock, I actually went to her office and asked her, is it okay for a parent to just walk around the school all day and not be addressed by the principal? She told me that she had talked to the administrator, and the administrator let her know that I would be there all day, possibly all day, and that she had her intentions was to pull me aside sometime in the day. I don't know when. This is when I was waiting for. After about 2, she actually pulled the lunch attendant in. We resolved the problem. 2 days later, the following week, my daughter was suspended. She was suspended for the reason of insubordination. Well, not insubordination, but disrespectful in the classroom. This was something that was supposed to be, I was just there that Friday. She got suspended on Tuesday. She told me about all these tardies my daughter had and everything that I wasn't addressed on when I was at the school. So from that day, my daughter returned, 18th, she returned on the 20th. I'm sorry, I have everything written down, but I know I only have a few minutes. When my daughter returned, she was suspended, she was written up again on a 190, level 2, for insubordination. It was for insubordination, for repeated class disruption and spraying cologne all over the classroom. I received this letter on the 7th. This incident happened on the 4th, which was a Friday. On Monday morning, I received a phone call from the principal stating that stating that my daughter was suspended. From there, so she wasn't supposed to be there Monday morning. I was at work. I received a phone call at 8:30 Monday morning stating that I needed to come get my child because she was not supposed to be at school. I said, well, I wasn't aware of this. She said, well, I mailed out a letter Friday. I said, well, how was I going to get it Monday? This is the letter that I received Monday. I was told to come get my child or the security can take her home. I go up to the school. It's like a long story, so anyway. After that, my daughter, on the 14th, before spring break, the day before the Friday, my daughter was videotaped coming in and out of the classroom on a teacher's personal cell phone. I addressed this with the school, with the principal. We went down there. Teacher never denied it. We had a conversation in the classroom. The teacher never had anything to say. I actually have some other things going on, but from that incident, when school came back on the 24th, my daughter went to go to the classroom that this incident was in, and she was told, she was given a cup and a art brush and told to go next door. She has not returned back to this classroom. The teacher told her that the principal said that she knew nothing about the situation. It's like, I know my time is up, but I'll have letters coming to you all on this situation.
Ms. Nolan?
Yes.
We do appreciate you coming down to speak to us, and I know it wasn't easy for you, so I do appreciate it. If you haven't already spoken to someone here about
I
your
have.
issue, okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll make sure that they follow up.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
clarifying questions from board members? Mr. Cole?
Ms. Nolan,
Yes, sir.
again, thank you for your courage in stepping forward. Did you have the opportunity to seek redress with any of our staff here that principal may report to, the executive director there?
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
I have spoken with the principal, Aisha Jackson. I've spoke with customer relations. I tried to leave something with the superintendent. I was trying to get something typed up, but after I found out, my mouth was getting dry, that I wasn't allowed to say certain things. I told them that I'll actually just have letters coming out to everyone with dates and specific things that has been going on since March 14th. I do have works to talk to a lawyer because I think this has went far. Like, they're actually having conversations with my daughter to where she's uncomfortable at school. She doesn't want me to address the teachers because they're acting, now she's disrespectful, now she's this. She's 13. She's a teenager. I'm not saying that she doesn't have a mouth, okay? I'm not defending that at all. But my kids are here to learn. When I release them to Columbus Public, I trust that they're being safe. Not a teacher recording my students, not these teachers on a personal level asking my kids how they look today, things like that. I don't think is cool. I don't think that it's okay for people to just say,
answer your question?
okay, they go to Columbus Public.
Okay, any other clarifying questions from board members? Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Nolan. Have a good evening. Our next speaker is Gavin Devore Leonard. Subject of remarks, Clinton School Annex, action requested, do not demolish building. Mr. Leonard, please approach the podium. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. All right. Good evening, President Baker, Vice President Stewart, Treasurer Rucker, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Good. My name is Gavin Devore Leonard. I live at 305 Clinton Heights Avenue in Clintonville, and I am a big public school advocate. My wife is a teacher and loves teaching at Marion Franklin. She's a Spanish teacher there, and I found out recently about the demolition plans for the Clinton Annex, the building at the corner of Clinton Heights and High Street. And what I found over the past several weeks is that I think most residents just don't know about what's going on. And we've tried to make sure that people know what's happening. I think the majority sentiment of folks that I've talked to around the community is concern about the demolition, and a hope that there's the possibility of a resolution that everybody can feel good about. We've had some good dialogue with a number of you and with the district, and feel really good about that process and are very hopeful that we can continue doing that. The two main things that I think most folks have brought up, and that I certainly feel, one is that this is a building with historic character. I moved from Cincinnati a couple of years ago, and my hope is to live in a community here in Columbus where we've got architecture and character and buildings that are maintained in a way that we build a community that has a lot of character over time. So I think it's important to maintain the building from that purpose. And then the other big thing that a lot of us are interested in is maintaining it as a flexible space for educational opportunities, and many of us are particularly interested in the possibility of using it as a place for more of the lottery students who would like to get into Clinton Elementary but who cannot get in currently. Our understanding is that over 200 students have asked about getting into Clinton Elementary. Many of us are very concerned that the school is becoming less and less diverse across notably race and class lines, and we would like to see as diverse a school as possible and ensure that as many students that can get in, that would like to get in, can get into to the school. So those are two of many issues that folks have raised, but two key issues for me and for a lot of other folks. Again, we're very appreciative of the dialogue and folks being part of a conversation about what's possible for the school. I think there are a lot of community folks who were not familiar with this before and are becoming familiar with it, along with many others who have been familiar for a long time. And I think we can work together to try to find a good solution that a lot of folks can feel good about. So I hope that we can continue the dialogue. So thank you for your time.
Any clarifying questions? Board Member Cole?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. Leonard, for coming and visiting us and sharing your commentary. My question is, has there been a plan presented by any of the community stakeholders regarding this building that might provide alternative funding, that might, create another opportunity extraneous to the district to fund this facility?
As was mentioned earlier by one of the speakers, and this is before my time, so I have to always plead ignorance on some of these things, but my understanding is that there was a plan that was brought forth around using the structure for the purpose of child care. There's a lot of us, I have a 3-year-old who will be going to Clinton in a couple of years, and a lot of us, daycare has been a major concern in the neighborhood. I know there have been some questions about that plan, but there are a whole lot of ideas that folks have raised. I think again, the major concern we have is that most folks haven't been familiar with it. As we all know, the number of people who are really involved in our democracy is unfortunately too few, and so a lot of us are just learning about it. We've heard a lot of good ideas, and what we're hoping is that we take the time before we make an irreversible decision. Obviously, it's once we demolish it, it's gone. So our hope is that we take the time to look at some of the different options. I think the daycare one is one worth pursuing again, but there's a number of other suggestions that folks have made that we'd like to have the time to pursue to see if there's a possibility of coming up with a good plan.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard. Good evening.
Thank you.
Our final speaker is Seth. I'd ask that you refrain from applauding during this part of the meeting. Our next speaker is Seth Goulding. Subject of remarks, Clinton School Annex. Action requested, do not demolish building. Mr. Goulding, good evening.
Good evening, school leaders. Thank you for your time. And I would like to echo a lot of Gavin's sentiments on the old historic Clinton building. I serve on the University Area Commission, but I'm speaking as a student, as a parent of a student that goes to Clinton Elementary. My wife and I, we have had 5 kids go through the Columbus Public Schools. We're big advocates for the Columbus Public Schools. We see people, young couples move in, just get married, and we sort of joke to ourselves, well, when their kids turn 5, they'll be moving to a suburb, and inevitably, we're going to move to a suburb, Worthington or wherever, and we take great pride in saying, hey, your kid would go to Clinton, which is just right, because Clinton does serve a good portion of the northern part of the University District, and we point out, it probably has better test scores than your Worthington school or New Albany or wherever. And a lot of that is because of great parental support, and a huge ingredient is the great staff there. Miss Leffler, great principal. I think we can all agree with that. Miss Kitty, peak teacher, some of the other great teachers, Miss Williams, Miss Dirtle, my daughter's teachers, Miss Miller and Miss Kolkowski, great staff, and I just think if we could replicate that in some way in a historic building that, and I would like to give a shout out also to Miss Carol Olszewski, who has polished a lot of our historic buildings, Fort Hayes, the Crestview School in Clintonville, our big Clinton school, and if we could just keep some dialogue going on whether we can. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. The fire department in Clintonville was rendered obsolete, but they built on both sides. It's won awards, and if there's anyone that could win awards with the annex building, it'd be Miss Olszewski. She has, I have to say, I hope she doesn't feel attacked in our anti-demo efforts, but actually she has really done more and is probably the biggest friend to historic schools in Franklin County. So, and I even would suggest we name the school after her if for some reason we could make a lottery school or something. And it's a big concern in the university district with the sophomores being taken onto the university. That's going to free up a third of our housing, and I know the university and city leaders would like to see families reside there. And if we could replicate Clinton to serve some of those people, because that's one of their biggest concerns. And maybe we can bring other stakeholders, like maybe campus partners, and to maybe help fund, or maybe some other private corporations. But thank you for your time, and I would appreciate a little more time to bring everyone together, both sides, school board members, the great doctor, which I think everyone can agree is really with you turning the district around. So thank you very much.
Any questions for Commissioner Goulding before he leaves? Any questions from board members? Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Goulding. Thank you. All right. Now, that concludes our speakers who signed up. No, that's later. All right. Now, did Dr. Smith have to leave? She's still here. Okay. All right. So I believe there may be some board members who would like to say a few words at the end of our meeting. Board Member Gibbs?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Smith. And I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Smith around 2003, 2004. And if you think I ask a lot of questions now, we had 3 little kids to decide where they were going to school. And they sent me and all my questions to see Dr. Bernice Smith, who not only had every single answer you could possibly think of, had created an innovative program that helped bring in students who may even attend summer camps, attend pre-K half day. And the center it was at Johnstown Road, and at that time it had Camaco and CDC Head Start and the Y and Columbus City. And it was this amazing center of learning, and I think it was Galileo, and they just brand new curriculums and the ideas and the innovation that no other district had around pre-kindergarten and early childhood learning. And because of your work and your vision and your thoughts and your unapologetic passion, she never wavered. She don't care who sat at this table. She don't care who the superintendent was. She don't care about any seats that changed. She cared about the kids. And our district, that little pre-K student is now on her way to 9th grade. She's headed to COS, and I can remember everything about the day she spent at Johnstown Road, what she colored, the atrium in the middle, and that says a lot. In city year terms, they talk about the 7 generations, and the work that you have done will impact 7 generations, if not more. So I applaud you tonight for your legacy, the love that you have left your staff, your department to show up for you with purple ribbons says a lot about the leadership we are going to miss in this district. It's irreplaceable. I think we can get another, but there's none like you. And I appreciate everything you've done for us. Everything.
Are there other comments? Board Member Cole?
Dr. Smith, I just want to personally give you thank you. My story is much the same. Both of my children, who still attend school in the district, attended pre-K, pre-kindergarten, both at Fort Hayes. My son attended not only the Schoenbaum, but also did a split class with pre-K and kindergarten at Wyland Park. One of your teachers is back there. It is a blessing to see you. This is a serendipitous moment for me to be able to just thank 2 people at the same time in the same room who had such a profound impact on both of my children, but most specifically my son, Bill, who started off at Schoenbaum and the Wyland Park as a special needs child who was speech delayed. Today he's a fluent French speaker. This is what our district produces. I can't speak beyond that, other than, again, to just say thank you so much. I can't wait to go home and tell Lee that I had this opportunity. God bless you. I wish you all the best, and again, your new, more liberated life. I hope you have a lot of fun, and I hope that you're able to be a continued blessing in the district. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Are there other,
His wife at Arby's Office Supply Store, and that's how we got connected.
are there other comments? Board Member Reyes.
I'll make mine very short because I think that a lot of information has already been shared. And I know that Justin Cockrell has been through some of our facilities for his speech impediment that he's had. And he's still struggling a little bit, but he's getting there as a fifth grader. But what I wanted to highlight is a lot of folks talk about living through superintendents, living through boards, and situations like that. What a lot of people don't know, when we're out there, or at least when I'm out there, I'll speak personally, I always tell us, we transition in and out. But what stays is our teachers, what stays is our administrators, and those are the people that make our district. I've always, and people will hear me say it here at the board table and in the community, I will put our teachers against any teacher anywhere in the United States and say ours are better in many ways. And you are an epitome of that, and your staff and our staff. And I'm very proud to be in this room as you're being honored. And thank you very much for your service to our district.
Other comments? I'll just add that a life lived in service to others is a life well lived indeed. So congratulations for your years of service. We thank you. Godspeed and good evening.
And I truly thank you.
Thank you. All right, would the controller note the arrival of board members Hudson and Stewart? All right. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Would you like to call the roll, Mr. Controller?
President Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Ms. Gibbs,
Yes.
Ms. Hudson,
Yes.
Mr. Paretti,
Yes.
Ms. Reyes,
Yes.
Vice President Stewart,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. We are adjourned.